Well, good morning, guys. Bill McMillan here with you on NDWX.com. Monday morning, about 7:15, as we record this video for you. And a changing weather pattern is upon us, and one that will feature summer-like conditions to start the week that turn towards more November-like conditions as we move into late week and on into next week. A lot going on in the pattern. Primarily, though, the big driver here is the PNA, or the Pacific North America pattern. It's been in a negative state, which is a very warm, state of this particular teleconnection for our part of the country. When it flips to positive, that's a good sign, though, that eastern trough and associated cooler pattern will come along with that. And when we see it sustained, in a positive state, that just kind of raises overall confidence that this pattern, as we go through the upcoming 6 to 10 days, is one that will really reverse in a big-time way and with more sustainability as we progress into the second half of October. So when we look at the surface, obviously we still have the warm start to this week upon us, but then look at the change that takes place as we move into the middle part of the week and on into the weekend and next week as well, for that matter. If we extend this all the way out to the 10 to 15 day range, it's still a much cooler than normal pattern across the south and the eastern portion of the country. Some warmer anomalies across the northwest, and this is very much like what we would expect to see with a positive PNA that develops as we move into the period. Other big story, obviously, is Tropical Storm Michael this morning. Indications continue to point to Michael strengthening into a hurricane later today, and potentially approach major hurricane status before making landfall along the Florida Panhandle as we move into Wednesday. A lot to continue to monitor with this particular storm. Anytime you get a tropical entity down in the Gulf of Mexico in October, very concerning, and if the conditions are ripe, obviously you can quickly feed this thing back and it can spin up into a major hurricane, and that's the fear here, at least, is that it's going to do that as it approaches the Florida Panhandle. Biggest concern I have personally with this storm is storm surge along the Panhandle. So we'll continue to keep a very close eye on this storm. As we look at the GFS forecast model, put it into motion, there are a couple of differences here between the GFS and the European with respect to Michael. The GFS is further west, the European is further to the east, and would present a threat to the Florida Big Bend area as well, so we'll continue to monitor that. Cold front sits off to our west. We're warm and mostly dry here as we go through the next couple of days, but showers and thunderstorm chances increase as we move into Wednesday, and that's in association with that cold front. And then a much cooler northwest wind will take hold Wednesday night and Thursday, driving in much cooler conditions. Another storm system comes along as we approach the weekend and delivers a chance of rain, and this will be a cool rain at that, kind of a raw weekend expected. That area of low pressure tracks into the Great Lakes, and that'll swing a reinforcing shot of cool air into the Ohio Valley as we move into next week. Good chance of the first frost of the season next week, and there may even be a couple of days behind this storm system where highs don't get out of the 40s. So a big shift coming from summer-like now, again, to one that's a more November-like pattern as we move into the weekend and next week. Also of note, some potential lake effect snow kicking up as we move into early parts of next week. And before we close out, guys, this is a look at forecast lows next Tuesday morning. Widespread low to mid-30s across central Indiana. A good bet the first frost of the season arrives as we move into the middle part of October, which is about what we would expect given the average date of the first frost here across central Indiana. Guys, make it a great Monday. Thank you, as always, for logging on to NDWX.com. We'll keep a very close eye on Michael as we move through the day and provide updates on NDWX.com later.